Hello and welcome to yet another episode, a rather unplanned one. As it was supposed to be, this episode was supposed to be shot in Guwahati with the man next to me, Swaroop Swaminathan, recording this right now in Guwahati. But here we are back in Chennai after another 3 day finish in Kolkata to look what's ahead in Guwahati for India and South Africa. And before going ahead, just want to plot it out. Uh, 3 days match got over in Kolkata. India have lost yet another home test match. Since then, mumps seems to be the word, out of Guwahati in terms of what the pitch is going to be like. So first, what went wrong in Kolkata and what to expect?
I think in hindsight, I don't think anything went correct for India in Calcutta. They lost the toss, which was pretty massive. Even though on that surface you try to make the main aspect of a designer pitch is you try to take toss out of the equation. Some of the matches that India have lost over the last 1 or 2 years, there has been on made to order pitches, and toss has been a big factor, even if they have tried to tell the world that they would like to play on turning tracks from day one itself, raging turners from day one itself, because they want to take toss out of the equation. So that was another thing that I felt was wrong. In hindsight, obviously, loading your team with all those left-handers wasn't pretty at all. Number three, Washington, of course. I think Washington was probably the best batter across both the sides. Yeah. So it's a bit of a contrarian take. But again, dropping Sai Sudarshan, Washington Sundar, all those all-rounders, not having Akshar Patel, again, in hindsight, did not challenge both edges of the South African batters. Some bowling changes, not really all that effective. It was a perfect storm kind of situation, I think. Yeah.
And we've seen this, from this particular team management since Gautam Gambhir took over as head coach. In terms of after such a loss or after matches, the whole aspect of no bullshit concept of no bullshit, where this is the pitch where they asked for, as Gambhir admitted. But when you ask for something like that, the other things also have to be done right. One of the aspects that I've seen, whether it's in BGT or in New Zealand as well, from this particular management, is that they make a playing 11 selection and then to sort of make sure that it is probably the right one, or like utilize it as well as they could. They sort of overcompensate a little bit on the field, whether it is playing two spinners in that green track in Sydney and not bowling Washington at all. And Washington again was the best bowler against New Zealand, didn't bowl much at all in this particular match.
Washington bowled 1 over across two innings, which was a joke considering the other right arm off spinner for the other side bowled, picked up 8 wickets.
Yeah, and which is where I'm trying to draw a circle or something around the lines of uh, how important is this for this team to acknowledge their weaknesses and sometimes the decisions that have not gone their way, and then course correct it rather than being hung up on what
Do the BCCI ever acknowledge mistakes?
they want to do.
Do the BCCI support staff do the support staff in this BCCI team ever acknowledge mistakes?
I don't think any team does it in a public platform. At least in the background, course correction seems to happen, which is something we have not seen with this particular test team. At least, yes, England series 2-2 was a great result for this particular team.
They should have won the series.
Yeah, exactly. But here again, Nitish Reddy has been called into the squad.
Nitish. But again, I think Nitish, when they had released him ahead of the first test, the BCCI mail, I think they clearly said that he would be drafted back into the second test. So that really isn't any big indication that he would play or not play. But considering this side, even Nitish Reddy wouldn't know if he's going to play or not.
And the number of left-handers in the setup, considering that if Gill, again,
if I were to say right now sitting here, I think Shubman Gill is traveling with the side.
Yeah.
So if they have deemed him fit, if they have deemed him fit, that's when you travel, especially with a neck injury, commercial airlines. They would probably like to give him the net session on the day before the test match. If he comes through that, I would expect him to lead the side. If Shubman Gill doesn't play, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think Sai Sudarshan comes in. I don't think Devdutt will play if that's the kind of combination that they want. And probably the other change, maybe Nitish Reddy coming in for Akshar,
Yeah.
because Akshar was dealt with pretty comfortably in that
Yeah.
first test.
Yeah.
That is the kind of changes that I think that this team would do. A lot of interesting changes potentially for the South African side. Simon Harmer, I think, is nursing a shoulder problem. Marco Janssen, there's another issue, I think, with respect to him. I think Lungisani Ngidi has been drafted in. Rabada may play. Muthuswamy may come in place of Simon Harmer. A lot of changes for both teams then.
I think as much as South Africa will want to, go on and beat India again in Guwahati, this result is massive for them in terms of WTC as well as what they were looking for coming into this series, which rather puts more pressure on the Indian team management who's trying to avoid yet another home clean sweep in a span of 12 months. Uh, yes, they would probably want a 2-0 result South Africa, but I think South Africa will happily take home 1-1 at this
If
point.
you had told Temba Bavuma and Shukri Conrad that the series would be 1-1, South Africa would have been like, thank you very much, we're not going to bother coming to India. Let's just see you next year's T20 World Cup. That is how big that one win was. One win in Pakistan, one win in India. That is not some of the greatest South African sides would have struggled to achieve that kind of result. This is just massive for them. And I wouldn't be this may be hyperbole, but if India do not win the second test, there will be, or at least there should be, legit question marks asked if going forward, Gambhir is only capable of leading India's white ball setups. Maybe red ball in Gambhir, maybe. It's fine. There are a lot of teams in world cricket who have clearly demarcated roles for their coaches. Maybe Gambhir is probably a bit he would want to fight and say that he is the man to coach India in all formats, but clearly the results
Aren't coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again,
and there will be a lot of question marks for Gambhir and this current support staff to answer if India do not win in Guwahati. And because now they're going to be under more pressure, that is why I expect Guwahati, if anything, to be a worse track than what we saw in Calcutta. Because this team, when they want a result, when they want a very bad result, they always think that go in terms of spin.
yeah. And not much pressure in terms of hosting their first test match at that venue.
So, this is, I would have to check, but I have just recently found out in the last 24 to 36 hours that none of the Indian players have played a red ball match in Guwahati. So whose is this a home test for? I don't really understand this anymore.
And the optional practice session in Eden Gardens, as much as the planned schedule was to, travel on the 6th day, considering the result and considering the time zones and the start timings and everything else, they would much rather, have traveled there and get acclimatized to the conditions.
If Ravi Shastri would, or maybe even Rahul Dravid, right? I have seen other teams probably do this, have like center wicket practice after losing, but somebody like a Shastri maybe would have just told the players to just forget it, have a day off, let's just reconvene in Guwahati. I don't understand what this correct bunch of players should have achieved by that optional center wicket practice or wherever wicket practice it was in Eden Gardens. It's not like the conditions in Eden Gardens and Guwahati are going to be the same. What exactly are you trying to achieve here? I don't know.
And
Of course, we have to qualify all of this by saying that Gambhir seems to be a really, really good white ball coach because this is the times that we live in. he's achieved two big white ball results, but maybe it's time that red ball the next few series. I mean, after this, India do not even play a proper home series till 2027. So there's all the time in the world for him and the support
And
staff to develop a team throughout 2026.
again, the next assignment, I think, if I'm not wrong, is an away series in Sri Lanka. So
Which is not the Sri Lanka of 2 3 years ago. Sri Lanka have a lot of gun batters, uh, and Prabhat,
Jayasuriya,
extremely upcoming spinner. And India have not played in Sri Lanka in a while. When they played in Sri Lanka in a white ball series, I think they lost again under
ODI
Gambhir.
series, yeah.
So I mean, interesting times ahead for the red ball setup in India.
Yeah, and I think it's a trend that we have seen where a massive red ball loss follows up with a massive white ball victory, which sort of compensates, or rather gives them the leeway to continue as well. But the one of the things that, forget the domination that India showed under Kohli and Shastri. Even before that, India were always been one of the hardest teams to beat at home. This South African team, the last time they won, Daleson had to take a 7 for on a dead pitch in Nagpur to make that happen. So, in considering all that, for a head coach to have 4 home losses in a span of
In eight matches, I mean that's unacceptable.
and against New Zealand and South Africa, due respect to them, India has been predominantly, unbeatable at home, barring the rank turners where they have lost over the last, 15 years, once in a while, 2017 or 2021, or even 2023 for that matter. But another loss in Guwahati should draw serious questions towards the support staff and the way forward for the test team. They've qualified for 2 WTC finals. The third time they did not qualify. 2 senior players retired. A captain went out. Another such occurrence had to repeat. Then again, serious questions have to be asked.
I mean, obviously, the last time India did not qualify for the WTC, there were serious questions asked. They tried to move players. They brought in a transition. Some of the other seniors, not just Rohit and Kohli, right? Some of the others also had to make way. You can only chop and change so many players. At some level, you have got to start questioning the support staff.
Yeah.
And I think if they do lose in Guwahati, questions ought to be asked to the support staff. In my view.
We'll know in a week's time as to what's going to happen, what the result is going to be, or rather, even sooner, considering test matches don't last 5 days in these times. And Swaroop will be there in Guwahati bringing you all the updates. But for now, all the eyes and pressure will be on Gautam Gambhir and India going into Guwahati. We will be back again. But for now, this is Gomesh and Swaroop signing off. Thank you for watching.